Well, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? I'm covering for Chance, who's at a concert tonight. So I'm here for the not so surfacey noise. Going to be chatting for about an hour or so, maybe have a guest or two come up. But the topic tonight, for the most part, is going to be mobile fidelity and discussing some factors related to their titles that they've been offering now and their pressing plant, Fidelity Records Pressing, and an interview that Jim Davis did with Mark Caro at Car Pop, and going through some of the discussions he had with him and having some responses and some retorts to these things, and just letting you all know about it, because a lot of people, I think, haven't been aware that he did this interview about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and have been kind of waiting for him to come out at some point. And I think Mark gave a good interview to him. So we'll wait a few minutes here and get started. I hope your week's been going well. I'm trying to navigate here. We'll wait a few minutes. Yep. I'm trying to navigate some new setups here, so bear with me. But overall, I appreciate you being here. As always, please hit the like button when you come on in, or the dislike button. Just want to get the algorithm going. Hope we can get the many of Chance's folks in here to see this evening and to chat a bit, talk about music. I spent yesterday and part of today at Armando's shop, Vintage Mio Records, in Waco, Texas. It's just about 5 blocks from the silos, Chip and Joanna Gaines silos. So if you're ever in Waco, look him up. He's on South 6th Street. And great selection, a lot of new stuff coming in, new used. He's got a lot of new as well, but a lot of used. I mean, he just did a big pickup in New York, a lot of jazz. I was going through some of that with him. That's not my genre per se, but definitely I could see that he was very much getting a lot of originals in that, which I think is what you want in the jazz area. Stan Getz, Duke Ellington, John Coltrane, Ella Fitzgerald, just a lot of Ella Fitzgerald, a lot of Jerry Mulligan. People, again, these not being my genre. I don't really, those don't roll off my tongue very easily. So, but also some rock in there as well, mixed in as well. Saw some Yes, Crosby, Stills and Nash. So, I mean, it's not just jazz, but I'd say 70% jazz was in there. A lot of nice soundtracks, clean records, which a lot of collections he gets. You would wonder if some of the records had ever been played, frankly. And I mean, there was even probably 5% of the ones I looked at were sealed even. So, yeah, it's good to have that in the area of north central Texas. Waco's situated about halfway between Dallas and Austin. So obviously between Dallas and Waco and Austin, you got a lot of record stores within about a 3 to 4 hour drive, and Fort Worth, of course, which is right next to Dallas. So you've got a lot of options there as well. So check it out. I think you'll find his pricing is very reasonable, and he'll work with you on pricing when you're let him know you're a fan of the channel, and that'll probably even get you more harassment. I mean, discounting than you would otherwise. But an excellent shop that's getting better, and probably, it's the old story. Space is always the premium. Getting space at a place to make enough for what you want to sell, and having room for it, and moving inventory. But a lot of interesting people from different places. We had some people from Ohio I saw in there today, just talking to a lady from southeast Ohio, I should say. And so, he's got a book there, people sign from all over. I say literally all over the world, because that's really true. It is all over the world. So, so check it out when you're in the area if you can. I think you'll find it pretty interesting. So let's talk a little bit about mobile fidelity. And, most of you that are here probably know about mobile fidelity. They started back in the later 70s. Their first records were actually train sounds. And they perfected a process whereby they did what's called half speed mastering. And that was really a fall off of half speed mastering was done before that, actually, especially in the 73 to 75 timeframe because of quadraphonic CD4. Because that particular type of 4 channel, there were 3 types: SQ, which was CBS, QS, which was Sansui, and those were what are called matrix. So they would get interpolated through a decoder, but a CD4 required a demodulator because it basically had a high frequency signal at 30,000 hertz that you couldn't hear and your dog couldn't hear. And it would basically send that frequency to a demodulator, and it would take that and split the channels between the front and the rear and give you more true, discrete 4 channel. Required a special cartridge that could go to 30,000 hertz. But the relationship to MoFi here is the half speed. The half speed mastering had to be done there because in order to cut 30,000 hertz, you couldn't. So they cut it at half speed. They cut a 15,000 hertz tone. And then when it was played twice as fast, it was 30,000 hertz. So they played the source at half speed and they cut it at half speed. And that was the way the record was created. And the theory was that in that cut, it going a slower speed would allow it better accuracy in the cut. That would be able to do a little more accurate cut than if it were traveling faster. And so those became the basically the underpinnings of mobile fidelity, or MFSL at the time, for their records. And they were in fact being done in large part mastered by Stan Ricker. And they were cut in Japan at JVC Cutting Center, Japan Victor Corporation, which is Victor being like RCA Victor. And they were cut there using a special formula of vinyl, which was see-through or translucent from purity standpoint of the vinyl and how the compound was made. And it made for a quieter surface. Now, there's always arguments about whether half-speed mastering is good or bad because it's an octave difference when it's done, and then it has to, replay it back at full speed, and is there some deviation or difference there? If you look up half-speed mastering and Kevin Gray, you'll see his opinion toward it. And it's a pretty technical type of thing. But at the end of the day, that was what mobile fidelity was. They were getting licenses for records that were out in the wild, so to speak, and they were in fact ones that were popular at the time or had been recently popular, and they made limited editions of those, although they didn't always state how many they made, or there was no numbering on them at the time. So mobile fidelity kind of grew out of that. They did bigger things like the Beatles. They did the Beatles collection box, which I did a video on, and it was $250, I think, at the time. They go for about $1,000 or a little less now. They were stereo. There's a lot of varied opinions about that. The EQ, they call Stan Ricker the king of the smiley EQ, where he takes the top end and boosts it up a bit, and he takes the bottom end and boosts it up, and the middle range kind of gets sucked out a little bit. People have that general impression, and it certainly is true on some things, but it isn't always universally true, and the extent of it is sometimes, in my mind at least, over amplified. So hi there to Adam, and no idea what system you're using. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Nick, there. Text me on my phone. Let's say, what the hell am I using? Okay. I'm on StreamYard. Okay. Let me send this off to Nick because he was going to join me, and I don't see him, so I'm not sure Where he's at. Hang on one second, folks. This is so Mobile Fidelity basically was, that was their bread and butter. And as a matter of fact, their early stuff was quite good and quite quite entertaining in terms of great sound. The other day, I did a video on my members channel, and I was talking about the fact that the Poco album Legend is one that is really, really good, and it's really cheap. So if you haven't gotten a Mobile Fidelity, try one of those. They're about $30 max, and I think you'll find that one to be excellent. And that one is one that's really good. Another one they did much later, matter of fact, in I think 2019, and it was one of the last analog ones they did. I think the David Crosby was the last, but one of the last pure analog ones they did was Bread Baby, I'ma Want You. So, hey, Adam is out there from the Freight. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Wyoming Dave is with us. Good to see you. Adam Hunt. I'm trying to get Nick going here, see if he finds the link that I sent him. All right. So Mobile Fidelity got into this heavy and then they actually did some cassettes, which are pretty rare to find from the 80s. And Mobile Fidelity was going along great. And of course, you know what happened. Vinyl kind of went away. Hey, KRWD. I'm waiting on Nick. I sent him I'm not sure he saw where I put the StreamYard link inside of the location on the invite. So I don't know. Sometimes, people aren't always as technical as you might like them to be, right? That's what I'm going to say, and I'm sticking to it. So Mobile Fidelity got into that. They then got into CDs. Of course, when the CD boom hit, they had these gold CDs that were really excellent. And I think as that progressed, and matter of fact, those were the early days of DSD, the early days with, I think Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever was one of the first ones they tried out. And not much longer after that, they went bankrupt. And late 90s, they went away until Music Direct and Jim Davis bought them late in the 90s, early 2000s, and resurrected the brand basically. Look who's there.
You kept sending me Microsoft meeting.
No, look in
Yeah.
the location. Look in the location field of the email. That's where it's at. I always put it there.
Okay.
I'm
You
tricky.
said so.
Well, he's here. That's all that matters. Everybody wants you here.
It's good Lord.
So good
Hello,
to be here.
people.
Much of the
Yeah.
gold CDs have held their value. Yeah, the gold CDs are good. Yeah, most of them are really good. And Full Moon Fever is definitely good. Come on, what's wrong with your system? You're not getting any hearts.
My system's working. I just sent the hearts out.
Oh, okay. You send them out. Okay.
I
All
send
right.
them.
Well,
Hopefully I get them.
you got to have one.
The only derogatory I see was from the host. Good to see everybody. Thanks for making it, folks.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in. So,
Yes.
yeah, we got the Texas Louisiana connection here.
Absolutely. Just a little bit down the road, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Nick's quasi Cajun, I guess I say.
Okay.
Well, he belongs in a cage.
Yeah,
he belongs in a cage. Hey, Cripple Creek, how you doing? Andy, how's it going, Andy? Good to see you.
That's Cajun for let the good times roll.
Let the good times. Yeah. So I was going through the history of Mobile Fidelity, and so MoFi, they became MoFi, MoFi was their moniker now instead of MFSL, because in the way on these, by the way, they have original master recording, means that supposedly means the original tape was
analog.
Means it's original tape was used. It means no, nowadays it means just the original tape was used because
Yes.
they still use it even with the
Yeah, of
DSD
course.
transfer. So it means the original tape was used. Now there were some that had what's called a silver label, and it said Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab. And what that meant was that the tape was either they weren't sure if it was an original or they knew it was a copy and wasn't the original. So they gave it a different moniker. And I think these are also 140 gram. They're lighter. That's the other thing. Now, just as a side note, there is what I call a Canadian Mobile Fidelity Records. A&M did an audiophile series. Now, see, you can see that gold there. It says audiophile series. It's right here.
Yeah,
And
I
sometimes they
see.
have a gold frame around them that says that as well. And there are some records that they did that are ones that they didn't put in the US on Mobile Fidelity, like Supertramp's Even in the Quietest Moments. You can get it on this, and it's JVC half speed, Stan Ricker cut, but they weren't licensed in the US. So some they have both. In other words, there's a Mobile Fidelity and a Canadian MoFi, and sometimes there's not. So if you see any of those are very similar in quality and sound. And so the MoFi company, in the sense of the second generation, or what I call Mobile Fidelity 2.0, was started through Music Direct, which Music Direct sells a lot of equipment. One thing I like about Music Direct, and I'll say it right up front, when you order a Mobile Fidelity record through them, and I'm thinking it might be true for any pre-order, you're not charged until they actually ship it, which I really like.
Yes. Yes.
So now that means you might get it a couple days later than someone who ordered it through MFSL, but you do save that issue of paying it, and it doesn't come out for a year. Although so you're getting the same price when your money's probably worth a little less, a year later. So it's good in that
I've
regard.
seen I've seen a couple times when I was used to buying from MoFi, and they, like you said, they take it out directly. And then I've found a couple of times that MoFi didn't have them listed, or they were out of stock momentarily. I switched over to Music Direct, and they had them for order, so I've ordered from there. And so by the time they actually got around to shipping it, I'm looking, I'm like, wait, what's this charge for? Because I was so conditioned to
Right.
being
You
charged
think that you're getting
right.
double dipped. Yeah.
I'm like, what
Yeah.
happened here? It
Yeah.
took a couple of times,
Yeah.
slow
Yeah.
learner, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
was like,
that's
oh, and I
the guys
prefer that.
and the guys at Music Direct and gals at Music Direct, they were at the Exponer show, and I met them, and they're really nice guys, customer service people. And matter of fact, one of them gave me this shirt, and that's why I proudly wear it. I was willing to buy it. He said, "No, no, 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 no. You do so many reviews, And so the thing is that some of these things that happen, we'll talk about with it. They've made a lot of I think improvements, I would say, in their visibility to what music people want. I mean, some of the titles that they've been coming out with, Alanis Morissette, and I don't have them in front of me, but just a lot of more modern, records, things that are maybe 20 years old and not 40 or 50 years old. Things that are, and they also now kind of have this flexibility because they've got the digital step, so it's kind of like no harm, no foul. Everybody knows, right?
Yeah,
So here's Michael. Interesting that MoFi has followed up behind the Rhino Hi-Fi series with Stevie Nicks Belladonna. I see that. And the Stooges. Bad timing. Yeah, it's like they're re-releasing these tapes in mass of certain records. Makes it great for shootouts, I guess. We always have that.
yeah.
Yeah, Marcella's videos I do like. Marcella's, here's a question from KRWD. What do your speakers weigh? They look substantial, or they are substantial. What do they weigh? Now, don't go try to lift them, Marcella, to get an idea. let's not have any injuries during the show. It is safe and sound, after all. We want to be careful. So please hit that like button. Yeah, thanks, Novice. Okay, I can't see those who bought the Rhino versions laying out the cash for the month. Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah.
But it's like Rhino's kind of saying, "Hey, we own the rights. Hey, if you want to press them, you want to license them, fine, but you're going to do it after we do ours." You know?
Hold my beer, right?
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not gonna, it is what it is, right? Has some good deals on MoFi right now. Some are $25. Yeah. So at Expona, they had tons of MoFis, older MoFis, and one steps, and I'm sure it was a lot of the return stuff that came back, and they were discounted. I mean, there were one steps for $80. I mean, it wasn't like they were expecting to get full retail from them. So it's true. They are doing that. The speaker weight's about 340 pounds each. Wow. That's two of me.
Yeah. I'm not helping to move them.
Yeah, really. Wow. Unbelievable. Marcella's speakers could kill a man. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that would be his wife killing him for buying them.
Yeah, right. And I thought my corn walls are heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Marcella, what brand are they? What brand and model are they? Because I've seen your videos, but I'm not connecting the dots honestly right now on those. So, yeah, let us know in the comments. So,
Yeah. Just look in the location, David. Just look in the location bracket.
ah ha ha ha.
Uh-huh.
So MoFi definitely has been listening, I think, to their customer base in terms of, and just listening in general to the, vinyl community of, hey, we need more, more recent titles. We need, we don't want all the classic rock stuff that, you've done 10 times, or the, John Coltrane that's been done X amount of whatever it is, So I just, I give them a lot of props for that. And I really think that that's been one of the good indicators of them listening. Heart Dreamboat Annie, nobody done that. I shouldn't say nobody. I guess Friday Music did it, but that doesn't count. But no.
Dang, that's cold.
Oh yeah. So I, that part of the equation, I think they're definitely kind of enhancing their brand and their audience in that regard. And I certainly think it's got to be true, and I think it is true, that younger folks have only known digital pretty much. I mean, they're from the '80s on, mid '80s. I mean that's that's something that they grew up on, right? And so to them, it's not quite anathema as it is to some of us who came from the golden age of audio, so to speak, and have maybe stronger feelings. So I think, and let's face it, a lot of the sources that you're going to deal with already have digital in them. And we know, you can get a good recording out of digital no matter what. We got Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. We got Donald Fagen, The Nightfly, just as two pretty strong examples of digital sourced material that sounds wonderful in analog. Anything that's mastered well or recorded well can come out on vinyl sounding really strong, in my opinion, regardless of the way it was recorded in terms of the media it went on. I think that's true overall. Takes a lot of engineering for those speakers. I bet it is. Boston, yeah, they don't have rights to it, though. That's a problem. It's not a WEA or Warner Electro Atlantic Rhino. It's a CBS Sony. So where's CBS? Why aren't they pushing that through Sony, through MoFi? And it's okay. I'll bring up the topic of MoFi's associated with Sony. Sony's been close to and providing equipment for Mobile Fidelity, from before Music Direct bought them, and they've been giving them the stuff on the leading edge of their equipment coming into use. Archivally, DSD was more of an archival methodology for audio, and they took it and put it to the CD side when those first Ultra Gains came out. Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever was, I think, the first one. So Sony's been there, and with the DSD now 64 and 256, they'll probably be a 512, I imagine. I think they're in them. And Nick had asked me the question earlier today: does Sony have part ownership into MoFi? I don't know, but that wouldn't shock me. I mean, they are vested in them big time. There's no doubt they're vested. And if you look at many of the records that come out, the releases, they are of origins of Sony, Columbia, that probably at least half, if not more, are of Sony's ownership. So they are fairly tied at the hip to Sony in multiple ways, I believe. And they may be vested. I don't know if they're invested, as in dollars and cents, but I think they certainly have a very tight partnership, to say
Yeah.
the least. MoFi, let's see, has denied that there is anything amiss with their side one of Dreamboat Annie. Are you
Yeah.
going to bring that up with JD? Well, here's the thing. I asked the question. I think another guy, Mike's Vinyl, I think asked the question, and they say that my ears tell me something different. I mean, but I am gonna say this in defense of the potential that this could be the case. When I was at Expona, I heard the test pressing of side one of Dreamboat Annie with the first three songs on it, and it sounded muted to me. But it was on a system I didn't know, in a room so I just said, okay, maybe it's just the environment of the system. But they also said the tapes they got, Mushroom went bankrupt or something, and these tapes kind of got lost somewhere in the middle of between these companies and something, and then they finally retrieved a set, as they said. And so I don't know the integrity of that whole set. If I just don't know. Is it a matter of the tapes were more worn, for some of the songs than the others? But clearly, the first side is, in my mind, diminished of impact and highs relative, especially to the other sides. That
And
was my experience.
all that being said by David, we hadn't had this conversation yet. And I had called David and asked him if there was something wrong with it.
You did. That's right. Yeah.
Yes, and I was like, "Is it me or what's going on?"
Yeah.
And that's when you told me about the story you just relayed. I was
Yeah.
like, "Okay." And matter of fact, I went as far as to call Music Direct. Couldn't get a hold of anybody at MoFi, and
Uh-huh.
they told me go to MoFi, and there's nothing wrong with it. Once I got a hold of MoFi, they said it's fine. I'm like, "Well, not to my ears, but I guess you're not going to do anything about it." But it just didn't sound right to me. And I have, I don't know, I think 4 or 5 copies from OG to their latest copy. So,
Yeah. So Michael Lord said he has it, pretty good rig, and hasn't heard the problem. I do want to ask, do you have any others to compare it to? Just to be able to make that, because mine is, you know what I mean? You can hear something on its own and say it sounds good, but sometimes until you hear an
yeah.
alternative, you don't know what you're missing, I guess. So I would just ask Mike that particular. Sounds like they flattened it. Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me too. And
Well,
again, it could be the condition of the tapes. They had to do something. I'd go back to the Pretzel Logic story with Chad on Steely Dan. When the thing about it not being any brighter, sounding as bright as the original, and his comment literally was, "You wouldn't want this any brighter than what I put out." So
yeah.
either there was something that made him say that, because it's not like we really should or can question Chad's ears. I mean, he's so there was something about going. There was a reason for what they did. I guess I'll just put it in that vein. And again, I will say that it definitely defied what you usually expect to hear in a reissue. But I will say that I enjoy that album a lot on the UHQR because you hear some other things so much better than you did on the original. So it kind of has a different feel to it, totally. But
Okay,
when you A B it, there's no doubt. And I mean, the graph shows it, everything shows it. So,
5 copies is what I have.
okay, he has a 16 press, the 99 Capital Hi Fi repress done at RTI. Yeah, okay. Yep, very good, Michael. Thank you.
Yep. I have the Nautilus, the 75 uh, mushroom,
That's OG.
a
Yeah.
76, another 76, and the MFSL. That's what
Okay.
I've compared them to.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and I've got some of those. I got the original Canadian OG of it, and the one I didn't compare it to that I need to is the Friday Music one with Kevin Gray.
Yeah, I didn't get that one either.
And when I find it, I'll compare it because someone did loan it to me, and it
Ah,
is MIA
yes.
somewhere. That's
Is there
not the first time
anybody
it's
out
happened. So
there?
there's a ghost in my media room. So
You know,
anyway,
I think there's a host out there that has the name of their show is Too Many Records.
too many records, right? There is.
I'm not agreeing with your missus though.
Oh yeah, thanks. That's all I need. So here's a
Right.
Kendon OG. Yeah, okay. Kendon OG was Kendon did all the first ones. 99 RTA. Well, RTI. Sorry, I will seek it out. And by the way, thank you, Michael. I will be visiting RTI late in September in California. So I'm looking forward to that, which I can use as a dovetail. I'm going to try to also get into Fidelity pressings if I can in Oxnard as well. If I can do that, I would love to. And I want to talk about Fidelity as well. So, everything that I have purchase that has come out of Fidelity, whether it be through a mobile Fidelity release or not, has been top notch. And I mean top notch. And I even had this pulled. So Adam from the freight, I already had this. So Adam had this cut at Sterling by Ryan K. Smith, and then pressed at Fidelity, 500 of these, and it is dead quiet, dead flat, fabulous sounding record. And here it is. It's a 500 run. This isn't a mainline band. It isn't a mainline label, but I think they treated the product as if it was.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to their consistency and the quality of the equipment and the processes that they have, which I'm really looking forward to hopefully being able to see. Because, just because something's new and more automated doesn't mean it's going to be better. I guarantee you that doesn't mean that whatsoever. So, so kudos to them on the stuff they put out. I can honestly say I haven't heard one person have a negative comment about a Fidelity pressing.
If you're not familiar with Freight, I believe David has an interview
Yep.
with one of the artists that's available to the
Adam,
public, right, David?
there he is. Yep, there he is. Right there's his comment.
Yeah, that was a
Yep.
great interview. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Adam's a great
Yeah,
person to speak to.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 and so to me, that's a positive on mobile Fidelity that they in spite of everything they saw it through to get that plant going. They got the Hashimoto brothers together from I say father and son, I should say, from RTI, who are experts in the industry, and they definitely are bringing some heat to the vinyl community in terms of the physical vinyl that's coming out. So okay, so I'm going to switch gears a bit and still talk mobile fidelity, but share with you something I kind of put together for my comments on this because I was trying to gather my thoughts from the interview, and I thought, well, this will be an easy way for me to do this and share with you all uh, what I'm thinking and what Jim was saying, what he had to say. I think it's a good. I think it's a good interview, and it's got a lot of great information I want to share with you. Uh,
Yeah.
so again, this was Mark Caro at Car Pop, and so they talked about ditching the half speed process, the mastering process, and the reason this came up, of course, is back in the 90s, at some point they quit half speed mastering and they quit um, basically saying anything about it. They used to have material inside the records that explained their process and what they did and the half speed and all. Then all of a sudden that kind of disappeared and the words kind of disappeared. And they never really said it was or it wasn't. And frankly, nobody was asking at the time. Albums were kind of on the way out, so to speak, at the time. So, it was kind of an internal thing that they did. And Jim said, he talked about what it was, and it really requires a lot more work in terms of adjusting EQs and your octave adjustments with the half speed process. It takes more time, obviously, because you're running things at half speed. So they said they did experiments. They took the same cutting in both ways, and they really felt at the end of the day, mastering was a little bit better without it having half speed. And again, it saved them money because they didn't have to do. Now, my issue is, and that's why I bold here, is the label and the branding was built around that using the original master tapes played and cut at half speed. And that was a secret sauce element of the label, but they changed it without a peep. And if it was for the better, so why not say so? Why not say we've done these tests? We are moving away from half speed mastering because we think we can get a better product without it now. And so this is the reason I bring it up is, sometimes a pattern can evolve in communication. And again, today, the internet, we expect a lot more information. Back then, nobody was asking any questions. I get that as well, too. So now, talking about cutting from the original master tape versus using DSD, he said they pretty much exclusively are using DSD transfers off of an analog tape for a variety of reasons. They said they think they can get a better transfer directly off the tape. And it sounds like a little bit of an oxymoron. How can a copy sound better than an original? And he said, when we make this transfer, we can make what I would have to call as close of a perfect transfer as we extract the maximum amount of information that's available on that original tape. We do that because we take the time to get the adjustments perfectly aligned, because there is tape alignment that has to be done. And so the inverse to this is if you do the alignment wrong and capture it on DSD, it's always going to be wrong. That's my retort to that. So when you cut from a tape, you always have to make sure that alignment is very perfect. And in a master tape, you also have splices, and they can be between songs and everything like that. So it's a little more logistically difficult, of course, to deal with tape. So at each splice, they have to adjust the azimuth of the tape because the tape isn't physically oriented 100% exactly as the tape in front of it because of the splice. And so they use an oscilloscope to do that for checking perfect alignment. And so you adjust the tape head so that you have that alignment, and so that basically then mirrors the tape in relation to the tape recorder that they were using in the studio. And in fact, if it's not aligned, you're not getting 100% of that information. So when an original tape is used, if there isn't any alignment done around those splices, you're getting something that isn't 100% for sure in alignment. So they can do one song at a time and go through it one splice at a time and basically end up with something is perfect alignment of the azimuth. So that's the argument or the discussion about why that ends up being a so much better product. So, by the way, Nick, if there's any salient comments, let me know because I can't see them right now. Um, and he said, I just don't believe people who cut directly from analog can achieve that kind of precision. And it means we have more information that we're putting onto the lacquer. So it's micro precision versus as is off the tape. And it's warts and all versus warts with tweaks. And I just thought, are you a good tweak or a bad tweak? Well, the tweaks can work both ways, right? As long as you
Yep.
don't twerk the tape, I guess that's the important part. So, you know, the thing about it is, I think the theory and the logic of what's being done here is really trying to capture the best possible source as it exists and make adjustments or compensations for any issues in the tape when you can, and then freeze that, because when you go to DSD or any kind of a digital copy, you're freezing that information. You said, this is it, this is the way it's going to be from now on. So it needs to be solid, because you aren't going to realign a DSD file. Then the talk of vinyl versus SACD, because they sell a lot of SACDs. I met Rob there in Chicago that does the mastering of their SACDs. They're very good. Again, the theory is they have a wider dynamic range, and there obviously should be more information potentially on an SACD or a CD over vinyl, theoretically, and as a CD definitely over CD. So if you've already got digital, then maybe the digital format in theory then is the ultimate, he said. It doesn't seem like that's the case, because it's in the ear of the beholder. And I agree with that. It is always in the ear of the beholder and the system they have, of course, given the source being whatever it is. You can always improve upon it if your system is better to some degree, but you'll never make the source different than what it is. So these are all, as he said, philosophical debates, and you listen to it. Does it sound good? Does it sound great? I agree. I think that's really at the bottom line. And he makes a good point here at the end. Some of the best records that got the most praise actually have been digital recordings to begin with. Dire Straits Brothers in Arms, I mentioned Nightfly by Donald Fagen. They are early digital recordings. Why does it sound so good? Probably it sounds so good because of the care done by those involved in capturing it. I would say that's the biggest variable, and having good equipment. But again, he said, when you put it on vinyl, there's some kind of whatever, through harmonics or whatever you want to call it. He said there's a pleasant noise, maybe, is a way to describe it. And I've heard that kind of comment before. There's just a certain amount of that just that warm feeling, and it's a noise not in a bad way, but a noise in a comfort way. So then he got into the big question, MoFi gate, right? Why and when did they go to DSD going to vinyl? He said he thought the first was Billy Joel in 2013. It wasn't. I've done the research. It's Natalie Merchant's Tiger Lily in 07. They did a few in 2011, like Tony Bennett's I Left My Heart, and then Billy Joel's Piano Man in 2011, with the Joel catalog following on 2013. And that was the place where they had trouble getting tapes from Sony, where they wouldn't give them the tapes and they had to go take their equipment and capture it. That was the fork in the road. The previous ones were kind of tests, because DSD equipment, and they were using DSDs for their CDs, and they were putting their toe in the water to see what would happen with vinyl. But when they met the wall, so to speak, of we're not sending you the tapes, this was the way to get around that, by bringing the recording equipment then to the studio where the tape was kept to capture it. So that is, whenever they could get the tapes, he said, they did analog cuts to lacquer. So essentially, when you see that after 2013 or starting 2013, some were DSD, most weren't. It was a matter of who was giving tapes out and who wasn't. But when they got the tapes in-house, he said, they did do the digital transfer to capture the data, kind of like to have a backup, so to speak. So as he said, and I showed you earlier, if it says Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab on the top, they either had access to a copy tape with the silver label, or we couldn't determine it was original. So it says Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab on top as opposed to original master recording. That
Yeah.
means that it is an unknown. It is known that it probably isn't an original first tape. The silver series on those was 140 gram and cheaper entry for some buyers, and those were silver series. Always were the ones that said Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab. So the great question that was asked was, looking back on telling customers about DSD, why didn't we let them know about it? Jim said, in hindsight, uh, the, I don't know why it says 20DS. That's a transposing error, but they always knew they were going in that direction. But the inflection point he thought of is they wish they would have said something when they put out the first one step, Santana Abraxas. What were there, 2,500 of those, Nick? Maybe, I think.
Yes, something
And
like that.
and it's universally revered. And at that point in time, it would have been the perfect time, with particular
Hindsight.
pleasure. Yeah, they
Yeah.
would have came back and said, "You love this. It's great. Oh, by the way, it's digital DSD 64."
And that's
And they
what we're
could have,
going to do.
yeah, they could have
Yeah.
proven the point
Yep.
and made the pivot. But again, when you're kind of used to, you don't, if you're not, if you're not barraged with it, you don't bring it up, or you don't just tell people what's going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I think there's fear in that, the analog community. What would they think? But I think he's right. That probably would have been a fair point to make at the time.
Yeah. Fear is very powerful. Very
It is.
powerful.
There used to be a thing they used when they sold IBM equipment. They called it FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. If you could get the customers to have fear, uncertainty, and doubt if they didn't buy IBM, then you won the order. So it's been around. So he
Yeah.
asked. When this MoFi gate or DSD gate came out, were you surprised it blew up? Washington Post had a story. And there's the guys who sort of said, wait a minute, I discovered, there's a digital step. Tell me about it. Tell me from your point of view what it was like going through that painful time. And he said, well, it wasn't the pleasantest of memories. So he was honest. So they talked about the thriller math, where they had 40,000 and you can only do 1,001 steps per tape that you use to make the one step. And that didn't make sense. They were going to get 40 runs at Thriller. So he said John Wood invited the guy, meaning Mike Esposito, who raised the question about DSD Gate. And Jim said, yeah, they made a video which was about the DSD Gate, and I didn't approve it, but they did make it. And at that point in time, that's when the firestorm hit, because it revealed, yeah, we're using DSD. And the reaction to that was, you misrepresented it all these years. He said then, and I got a quote here, except that if you look through any of our marketing literature, there at no time do we use the term all analog.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Now, I went back and there's a video on YouTube, and in it, Sean Britton, who was one of the mastering engineers, stated in a video in 2017, several years after they started and quite a few years before DSD Gate hit, he was in an interview with their SACD mastering engineer, Rob DeVerti. They were 4 years into using it to cut some vinyl records for an analog mastering chain. He said, when he was asked, do you use an all analog mastering chain? He said, without pause, it is an all analog mastering chain. And all of the DSD discussion in that interview were about SACDs, nothing about LPs. So there was a concerted effort not to bring it up or to, avoid implying or stating anything in the vinyl arena. And at the time, it definitely wasn't true. The tape was all analog, yes. The tape was analog, but the mastering chain or the provenance was not. So Rob, who is the guy who does all the SACD, stated the master source tapes are copied to DSD for archival, The presumption, given the context of him describing the SAD mastering process, was that retention was used for the digital side of the house because Sean was doing all of the analog side. So in retrospect, there may have been a red flag or clue that it could also be used to cut lacquers, but no one figured they were doing that.
Well, it was all analog until it wasn't.
Yeah. And then, ironically, the video went on to introduce the one step. That's when they were introducing it, and the
Yeah.
Santana. They spoke of that one in the Bill Evans coming out, being from an original tape. Again, never saying that the source of Santana Abraxas, while being a tape, was then cut from a DSD. They had that opportunity there, like even Jim had said, that might have been the time to say it, but they chose not to. So it was really not, a lot of questions being asked of them at that time because, nobody, I guess, thought of that, of course, at the time.
Right.
They were never directly asked that question. And then he did talk about the computerization step on the pitch and the depth computer they caused that drove the cutter head for proper groove spacing to avoid overcutting in the signal path, but that wasn't the signal that was used to actually cut the lacquer itself
Right.
at the cutter head. The actual sound content went through the customer cutting system that would impact the sound. So again, very much staying away from any implication of that.
This is Rob Laverde, and this is Sean R. Britton.
Can you hear that, Nick?
Fidelity Sound Lab.
Yes.
Well, some people ask us questions like, is it an all analog mastering chain? It is. We have a Studer preview machine, and without being too technical, that means that there's two heads. The preview signal goes to a pitch and depth computer, which spaces the grooves correctly so that you don't overcut. And of course, that means that there's two signal paths that are exact, and that can include Dolby processing, equalization through our custom-made console. And our cutting system is completely built and designed by Tim DePeravicini of EAR/Yoshino Electronics. There's no system like it on the planet. We have crazy frequency response. I've cut in excess of 60 kilohertz to our lathe at half speed, mind you. But it's an honor to be able to work on a system of that capability.
Indeed.
And on the digital side,
Yeah, we have on the digital side what we call the Gain HD system, which is actually it's only a 2-year-old upgrade from the previous system, which we call the Gain 2 system, which was an upgrade on the Gain system. And the upgrades have encompassed any manner of technological advancements. When things went from the Gain system to the Gain 2 system, it was an overhaul of the Studer tape machine and reproducing electronics, which Tim DePeravicini came in and completely went through our Studer 8080 tape machines and also replaced our reproducer amplifiers with his design, his custom one-of-a-kind design that he creates just for us. In addition to that, we began capturing analog signal in DSD as opposed to PCM. The Gain system, the Gain 2 system, was when we started using DSD technology, DSD64, which is known as DSD64 because it is 64 times the resolution of compact disc technology, which is 16-bit 44.1 kilohertz. But our most recent leap in an advance in technology is that we've now gone to, with the Gain HD system, 4x DSD technology, otherwise known as DSD256, which is 256 times that of compact disc technology resolution. And everything we've been doing for the past 2 years has been transferred at that resolution. So although the resultant digital products are on the SACD layer, still of course at 1x DSD, and at the CD layer 16441 PCM, we do have 4x DSD backups and archives of these irreplaceable master tapes.
looking toward the future.
Looking toward the future, indeed.
One of the things that I appreciate about Mobile Fidelity is that we do stay on the cutting edge of technology, whether that be the digital with the quad system where we have pushed frequency response and, of course, dynamic range accordingly, because we don't limit or compress any of our records.
Right.
And as our customers know, it may be a bit redundant, but they want full dynamic range, and you can't get that with any sort of limiting compression. It's important. It's an important part of music to have dynamic range. It's about the emotional content.
Absolutely.
Comes from that.
Yeah.
Really, it's a blessing to work where we do.
Oh, absolutely.
Have the freedom to be this exacting, that we have the time.
There you go. So again, our expectations are we want, a lot of information now in the age of the internet and traditional public relations aren't, there can be quite dangerous in today's information glut, and expectations are that you have quick responses and transparency. But it's a business case lesson to me still as well. And there is a thing that is often forgotten, is unfortunately prevalent in the media landscape. It's called sins of omission, things that aren't told, that when they're finally told, tells us a lot about a situation. So I'm encouraged he did this. I really am. I think it was important. And again, I'll put back up where you can see this at. But there was an aura of we weren't trying to hide it, but we just didn't mention it kind of thing. Now that it's over, I think, it's one thing to say now that they're definitely changing in the tone of what they're doing in terms of what they're putting out. They've got a great pressing plant as well. But I do think, it's a good lesson in transparency in today's age and expectation. Things have changed a lot in terms of PR, in terms of marketing. And I think they should be proud of their technologies to be more overt about it. I think that's something that they didn't take time to take credit for and share with their customers. And I think that that's really what, for me, was missing in the whole thing. So anyway, so that's kind of what I put together from that. I'm going to go back to a beginning slide here so I can share with you where that was. That was Mark Caro at CarPop, CarPop. Mark Caro at CarPop. It's basically a streaming type of audio cast that's done. It's on all platforms. So if you look up CarPop and Jim Davis, you'll probably see that. So
He has a few good interviews that I've
he
heard so
does.
far. Yes.
He does.
Yes.
So I noticed this was a good comment. DSD is the equivalent to tape, but the problem is the recordings with software are not with the analog console for recording and mixing. So let me clarify that. So it's the in-between digitization that can have the problem. I mean, DSD is nothing but a backup system. It's nothing but, putting in ones and zeros what you're pulling from, and then it's a matter of the analog to digital conversion that makes the difference, right? And the more sampling you have, the more accuracy you're going to have. Obviously, that's just relational. So I don't think in and of itself it is limiting how that tape is then cut. I mean, how it's done when they master it is still what the issue becomes. What are they tweaking when they make the actual lacquer cut and doing the master? That really becomes the bottom line again. It always is. But in the recording process, as he indicated there, Jean-Paul, you're right. Those tools can sometimes be a bit messy, I guess I will say. They can be too flexible almost at times. If you lined up all the MoFi fans, the supporters would outnumber the detractors all day long. I think that's true. And my thing about it is honestly more about the business side of it and how you approach transparency and public relations and those kind of things. Those are, for me, the things that are really important. And that's a lesson that I think needs to be learned. I think they have to a large degree. I hope, let's face it, the Tango in the Night issue was side one. They realized they had a problem. They resolved it. The only problem I had there, I think, again, is it had to come from the community saying we got an issue, and then they went back and realized they had it, and they went back on Facebook and said they had it. But I don't know, they went back to every purchaser and overtly emailed them to say, we sent you a record with a problem. It was more, I think, if you heard about it, no pun intended, then you notify them and you could get another record. So again, it's good intentions and the right approach, but was it holistic enough? Was it complete enough?
Yeah.
Did they go back to the individual customers who bought it? Because I know people who bought it who didn't know about it, who heard it through me. And
Yeah.
I hadn't even bought it. I saw it on the Facebook page. So it's kind of like, if you find out, then we'll do something, as
Right.
opposed to like a recall or something, where they actually, what VIN number do you have? We're going to
Yeah.
send you a letter, and
That's a
we're, yeah,
safety recall. Yeah.
yeah, right. And I know that I'm not trying to compare a safety recall to an
Right.
album.
Yeah. I know you're not. God, you've forgotten enough about safety than most people would ever dream of. I do have a question though.
Yeah.
I think somehow they could have avoided so much, and of course, yeah, hindsight and all that bit. But the plangent process, no one's ever complained about, as far as I know. It's been well known, invented in 2004. Okay,
Hmm.
there's plenty of us that know it's there. We don't mind that it's there. It actually improves the recordings and have never complained, but applauded it for all these, 2 decades now plus. And I just, that's part of the why are you so scared bit. But I guess if it's your baby, the fright is different than
Well,
somebody
but the
else's.
difference is Plangent was birthed digital.
Right.
Mobile Fidelity wasn't birthed digital.
I get that, but
Yeah,
it
and so
was
I
it was
think
an accepted digital platform.
right, but it was digital from the get go.
Right.
It never had another identity, and so this is about branding. It really is about branding.
Branding shot him right in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, you think original master tape, but you also think analog provenance, right? And did you hear Sean say analog mastering chain? Those were
He
his
was,
words in
yeah,
2017. Those were his words. He said
yep,
that. So when you say that, that's different than saying the tape was analog.
yep,
Okay. So that was, Florsheim in the mouth. That was the one. And the foot in the mouth on that, to me, really tells me that was not meant to be something that was stated. And I would bet, honestly, the reason this case was settled, because you don't want to have to go through discovery and look at emails that went on, or
yep,
NDAs that were signed or
yep.
whatever was done. There was, I'm sure, a concerted effort to not just make that, out there. You know, and how it came out was just through the happenstance of a one step at 40,000 pieces, as someone did the
Math,
math and went, wait a
yep,
minute,
math.
Sony's going to let you run that tape 40 times?
Yeah,
I mean, that's how it came out at the end of the
yeah,
day. It
yeah,
wasn't,
absolutely.
it wasn't, yeah. So everybody, I've said this the other day, people in this industry, they have the ability to keep the biggest secrets, mono boxes coming
Yeah,
out. I mean,
yeah.
it's like these people in this industry, they shut up like unbelievably. I mean, they're very trustworthy when it comes to that, it seems like.
Hmm.
In today's world, that's really, rare because stuff leaks so easily. Yeah.
True enough. Yeah, it was incredible how they were able to keep their mouths shut for so long to produce that Beatles monobox.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah. There weren't,
incredible.
yeah.
And
And
this is
everybody's
what I'd
still
like.
waiting for the next announcement, right?
Yeah, they might be done for 10 years. There's no
Yeah.
telling.
Yeah.
I can promise this tomorrow's release from Rhino is not it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. We got a Steve Westman tomorrow morning at 6 p.m. Pacific or 6 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
oh something 100, which means it's
yeah.
O's too early.
Oh, too early.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna bet on a Black Sabbath. So which one I'm not sure. Maybe Sabotage. I don't know, but I think it's gonna be a Black Sabbath.
Sabotage.
Sabotage.
But, but
We'll
folks,
see.
please give a thumbs up. But Dave could
Yeah, we
really
got to.
use it. I promise you. He needs to get over that hump where it gets distributed. Oh, I'd love to see him get a few more thumbs up from all you wonderful people out there that are missing the no surface noise tonight.
Yeah, I didn't catch which concert he went to, so I'm not sure to be honest with you. But I'm sure it's a good one if he went to Chicago for it. So
Yeah.
whoever's playing in Chicago tonight. I've been asking. Yeah, I've been buying MoFi since the '70s. I think of MoFi. I think of Great Sign and Represses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
Absolutely.
And honestly, that's been the case for for me. I mean, I've been buying them as long as you have, Michael. Some are better than others, but that's true of all of them. I think pretty much. So I think it's a situation where um, listen to what what you want and hear what you hear and decide what you want
Yep.
on you keep for your turntable. I'm doing a lot of rationalizing, but there's still nothing like an OG, right? I showed this on my members thing. Nothing like an OG.
hmm
And a white label OG is even better. A promo,
Good,
it's,
clean music.
yeah,
Everybody in the tub.
it's everybody in the tub, but you can't see the toilet. They will not show you the toilet there. Don't know why they don't want to show the toilet. It just
The
goes to
the
show you how far we haven't come.
the frailty of the American public.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah. So MoFi, have you listened to these, Nick?
I have not had time. It's been a couple of
Okay.
weeks for
Yeah,
sure.
I know you've been busy. I just was curious.
No, I
They really,
listened to the one, but I didn't break out the 7 inch. Just haven't had time. It seems like you either get a feast of music to listen to, or it's you're digging through your old albums. It's never a nice steady. It's kind of like the restaurant business. Everybody shows up at your door at the same moment, or you're looking the next day. Where'd everybody go? There's no rhyme or reason to it. I've been doing this for decades and haven't figured it out.
yeah,
So it's
yeah, I get that.
it's about the same with how music comes your way. Hits you all at once, or there's nothing good coming out.
I have the same experience when I go to the post office. It's like I either can just walk up there or I'm waiting forever.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Like there's no middle ground, no middle ground whatsoever. So, well,
Well,
again, I want to make sure I reemphasize what I did in the beginning, honestly, and that is MoFi on new releases and more recent material. Really good efforts there, and I think that that's really to be applauded for them to do. And I think, frankly, now that the cat's out of the bag, they're digital sources. It makes it probably easier to just say, "Hey, it's digital; doesn't really matter."
and it
And
sounds good.
yeah, it sounds good. So, but and then the pressing plant, Fidelity, again doing just yeoman's
Yeah.
work. I mean, everything I've heard is just top notch. And I'll plug my buddy Adam again at the Freight. They did these through Fidelity. They did 500 of them, and probably the one of the quietest, flattest albums I've seen in a long time, and sounds great as well. But yeah, Fidelity is just knocking it out of the park as it relates to product coming out of there. And yeah, I would very much like to be able to visit their facility and learn what's going to happen. So somebody says Masters of Reality should be up next.
Could
Yeah,
be. I wouldn't be
should
mad.
be, but that would mean that Rhino would be a master of reality by doing something logical. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure I'm not sure that works. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see. You're right. I
Okay.
mean,
How many want to agree with me? And Steve tomorrow morning is going, oh my God, I had to get up so early to do this. So,
well, I'll tell you
ev-
what, that'll probably sell out by noon central.
yeah, that's been his shtick lately, having to get up early to do them. Well, he gets the promo copy and he gets to announce it. Quit crying, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, he
Nah,
can do that and still go to his regular job. See?
I know, right? There you
Yeah.
go.
So he's got to be
Absolutely.
made in the shade, made in the shade. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we're going to let everybody get their sleep tonight so they can get up early enough to watch Steve tomorrow morning, who's doing yeoman's work to help get these things intensified. I will make one last pitch. I
Good
think
one, Chief.
Rhino. I think Rhino should start pressing out of Fidelity instead of Optimal. Not that Optimal's been bad, but let's face it, you got to go to another country. You
Yeah.
got the costs. You got and they literally have a great pressing plant in their backyard in Oxnard.
There's one more thing. I heard several places that foreign countries are refusing to mail posts to America.
Yeah, I saw that. These are people who don't understand that records are classified as informational material and they are not subject to that. Now, there is that de minimis $800 minimum, that they said was removed now. I
Right.
think it's a carrier issue now and not a supplier issue. I think it's the carriers thinking that they don't fit under that $800 rule now. So there's
Right.
definitely confusion that really
Yeah.
bubbled up in the last 24 to 48 hours.
Confusion.
Um,
Go figure. I would have
yeah,
never guessed.
yeah. Well, I think everybody is holding their powder until their lawyer tells them what they really can and can't do. Is probably what it
Yeah.
is. That would
Yeah.
be my guess. But they need to get it going.
The
There is a
words of an
disclaimer on Discog that indicates no tariffs on records. That's
yeah.
true. That's true. There is no tariff on the record
Yep.
itself. They're saying that when they go to ship it, that used to be a thing that said anything under $800 they don't have to declare. But now they're thinking they do have to declare it and that there can be some fee, not necessarily a tariff. I mean, I know they're both costs, but
Yeah.
it's not in the tariff world. It's in this de minimis fee from the shipping people. That's really the thorn in people's concern right now. So yeah, I mean, change is always difficult. And here's the thing: they've had all this time to work this through, and it always seems like they're doing it in the 11th hour.
Yeah. Kind of like a congressional budget.
Oh yeah. Well, no, we got our budget. Budget got passed early this time, relatively
Well,
early.
for a change.
Yeah, for a change. I
But
mean,
yeah, it's a shame. It's not the norm though, which it
no,
should be.
no,
But yeah,
no. I
absolutely.
mean, you just have we're going to shut things down. We'll just shut her down.
Yeah.
And that's what they're kind of doing with this shipping thing. I think too is just
Yeah.
well, they're just going to.
The infamous words of an old man once told me, "This too shall pass," like
Mm-hmm.
everything
My
else, right?
yeah, my kidney stone doctor said that as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
my my proctologist said that. I mean, they all say that.
They all said that. And you too, and I too shall
We
pass.
shall pass. Yeah, the funeral
Yes.
director says it. They all
Yep.
they
Yeah.
all say
He's the
it.
last guy to let you down. Oh.
Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah. Boo. That's right.
that's
Boo.
right.
Thank you. I earned it, but I earned it. That's the important part. Appreciate you guys so much. Y'all are
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Well, just it's old fart radio. Here we are.
Well, if it was old fart radio, we wouldn't have to look
We
at
got-
that mug.
yeah.
And
They're
you do
full.
have a face for radio.
That's
Oh
right.
no! How about a yay for that one, folks?
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
wait, I got a face for radio too. Where
Speaking
is
of
that?
psycho platters, there's Paul. How you doing?
Hey, Paul. Glad you could make it. Give us a thumbs
Yeah.
up, bud.
Yeah. Now the
Well, I was
miss
over there earlier today and gave him one. I figured, swat one back this way. There it is.
that's
Appreciate you,
Que
pal.
Sera Sera. Isn't that what that means? Que Sera Sera? Remember that
Well,
Doris Day
yes,
song? Yeah.
will be, absolutely.
Like a
Yep.
watermelon through a garden hose.
Oh, that's that stone he's talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've had fun tonight.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for joining me. I'll have to change my methodology for you so we can be on the
Yeah,
same
I'm going to
page.
send back what you sent me, and you pointed out.
Okay. All right.
Danny, I'm on a Mac. What are you on tonight?
I'm
Are you on your
still on my
PC?
laptop. I tried to go to the Mac tonight and I had some issues with
Uh,
peripherals.
Cause yeah,
So
cause I got Mac meeting. I mean Microsoft meeting. I'm like, what is this? And it sent me into logging into Microsoft. I'm like, no, wait.
really?
Yes, sir. And that's why I was frustrated when I come home. I'm
Okay.
like, no. And then you
Well,
said it again. I'm like,
okay.
really?
The invite came. Here's the thing: the invite came out of Microsoft Office. That's true, but it
Uh,
should have just came out as a regular old email. But
no. Talk about, Microsoft. I mean, yeah, Microsoft. Bill
yeah,
Gates hard at it again.
yeah. Well, they want you to. If it comes out of there, they want you to think it's going to be a Teams meeting automatically, right?
Yes. And
And
that's what I got. I'm like,
that's
I don't
why I
know.
put it in the location field because everything else makes it look like Microsoft. So,
See, I don't even know. I don't know what a location field looks like on
oh,
my. I've been on iPads and Macs for so long that a
you're
location
right.
field.
And I'm not as I don't think of that when I send them. I know that. So
Right. So
I'll be
a mutual understanding we come to.
yeah. We have a we are mutually misunderstood.
We're both a mess, and
Just goes to show
everybody
you.
else is enjoying our mess because they're still hanging around. Love you guys.
Yeah, yeah. It's much that. So well, anyway, so I've got just to share a bit. I've got a couple of trips planned in
Yes.
September. I'm going to Indiana for a week, family stuff. And then I'm going to Las Vegas for a Tears for Fears concert. And from there, I'm going to head to LA and hopefully definitely have RTI scheduled. I'd love to get into Fidelity. I'm going to try and hit a few record stores when I'm in
Hmm.
LA. And then I'll be in Cincinnati late in October. So if anybody out there is in the VC that's in the Cincinnati area, let me know. Maybe we could meet up. I'll be there the last week of October, the last weekend of October. Yeah, definitely going to be doing a bit of travel. Those are all driving trips. So I'm going to be literally spinning those wheels.
Speaking of Cincinnati, I
Yeah.
came across. There's a link. I forget where I saw it. I think YouTube, where somebody had pieced together Dr. Johnny Fever and all the songs he introduced, and he does a 3 hour radio show. Dr. Johnny Fever does it. It has him doing the commercial breaks and then the music.
Oh,
I haven't
really?
gotten, yeah, and hadn't gotten time, but they did a whole 3 hour stint of Dr. Johnny Fever doing his radio, commercials and all. I thought that would be pretty interesting to revisit, go back in time, and we've never seen it in that format before. We've always seen it on the TV show. Those of you who are viewing that aren't familiar with it, it's an old TV show, comedy, great.
Yes. Remember the
But
turkey drop?
yeah, the world famous turkey drop. Yes,
The world. You know what we didn't do
yes.
tonight? We didn't do our free member attempt tonight.
I couldn't find it again tonight.
Oh
I
my gosh.
looked. Yeah, I know. We,
I
we
don't know why.
I looked. I popped up with the what did I pop up with? With the get noticed. It said my 2 month being a member. I was like, that's not what I was looking for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
that's
do
it
have a
says
membership. Go ahead.
it says to go to the dollar sign at the bottom right, and there's super chats and stickers. There's supposed to be a place where I can uh, give away free membership, and I don't know where it is.
Oh, I
I
see it. It
think,
says memberships. There we go. Oh, that's for getting a membership. Okay.
yeah,
Membership gifting. There it is. Membership gifting.
yes.
I'm going to send 5 right now. It says I can send 5.
All right, nice.
So there, if you
Good luck,
want
folks. It's well worth it. It's
to,
not it's time well spent. They're not real long, but they're very informative. I haven't. I can honestly say there hasn't been a loser yet. You've done what, 50 of them?
70, I did to
53?
75, I think. I
Wow,
started
where's it
June
go?
10th. So there's a box there. It says allow gift memberships. You can click on that, and then you click on a button after that, and you'll get a free month membership, which then
All
you can
right.
decide if you want to join for 5 a month. But I do a daily audio diet. I call it show and then I also am providing some additional videos and audio files that you can download
Yes, they've been
of,
great.
of rare, rare,
Yeah.
rare cuts of things that I have. So if you'd like to join through there, just click on allow gift membership for you, and then you can take that gift, and for a month you can sample it, try it out, see what you think. And again, it's you don't have to renew if you don't want to, but
Right.
hopefully for $5 a month you think you're getting your money's worth. It's really a labor of love, more than anything for me. So every night I get to record one. So after I get done here, that's where I'm headed. So
It's been fun being a member, that's for sure.
yeah, well, I enjoy doing it. I have a lot of stories to tell, a lot of music to share, and I just want to provide it in a way that just is, a little bit of incentive for people to, just take a little bit of more stake of the channel. YouTube gets its cut, so it's not like it's a big money thing. That isn't it at all. It's just really trying to engage more, provide more material for people that are watching the channel. So if you're so inclined and you like to give it a test or a shot for a month, go ahead and click on that. And I would look kindly upon anybody who takes the plunge, so to speak. And again, if you don't want it for the months after, that's fine. I understand that too. We're all on a budget. But what the
Yep.
heck? Take it for free for a month. That's good.
There you go.
You don't get much in free for life in this life. That's for sure.
Oh,
That is for sure.
and now the Les Nessman hot dog report. Hog report. Boy, that's a splash.
Bring me your buns. Or
Yeah.
was it Lonnie Anderson was in that one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The late great. She just passed recently. My goodness.
Yeah.
We lose so many of them. It's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. No, none of
It's
us get
terrible.
out alive.
None of us are getting. Yeah, you're right. None of us are getting out of here
And
alive.
we're marching in that direction.
We're all headed there. We just don't know the day nor the time, as they say.
Yep.
Yeah. It was
And the
sad.
reason and why do you call it the daily audio diet? I thought it's because you had so many people calling you dad.
It's dad. That's right. I call it my dad. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send Nick a note. I'll say I just dropped dad. He said pick him up.
It's the sixth time this week you've dropped them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Uh,
It's a lot of fun, and I'm really trolling through some of my archives is what's interesting to me too, because it kind of forces me to have to do some things too, and when I do that, I always find something that, I'm like, oh man, I forgot about that. You might go, hey, I forgot that I had a Monkees 45. It was a theme from the Monkees. And then at the back, the flip side's Mary Mary by Michael Nesmith, but the Monkees were on RCA Victor outside of the U.S. In the U.S., they were on Colgems, which was a division of Columbia Television, because that
Oh
was who
wow.
did the TV show. But
Yep.
and so yeah, so they put those little spindle thingies in the record for you in these countries. It's kind of interesting. Or they
Yeah.
have no, or they just have the center hole like an LP.
Hmm.
Today I was doing this for Armando. I was doing Earache My Eye by Cheech and Chong. You ever
And
seen that? Heard that?
Armando's with
Armando in Vintage
yeah,
Mio.
yeah, Vintage Meat in Waco,
Yeah,
Texas. Yeah.
Waco, Texas. Yeah. So this Earache My Eye by Cheech and Chong. You ever heard that, Nick?
It's been a long time if I have.
Daddy, you scratched my record, man. I just bought it.
It's
Hilarious. It's hilarious. So yeah, so I start pulling out these old things. Here's a Brian Adams Summer of '69, Doug Sachs cut
wow.
on a 45. Yeah. Yeah, I just, yeah, that's what I love is pulling this stuff out and going, man, I forgot about the year 2025, Zager and
Oh my
Evans.
goodness. And you
Just
know what
yeah.
amazes me the most? His wife hasn't divorced him yet. Oh,
Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
yeah. So anyway, we'll wake up for Steve in the morning
Steve.
and we'll
Yep.
see what Rhino has to say. We'll see if it's Masters of Reality or a Black Sabbath. That's kind of my Compact 33 and 30 are really neat. Yeah, I have a small collection of those too. Some of them were like EPs. They had 2 songs on each side. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love radio station stuff. I love jukebox stuff. I've got a colored Beatles 45 set as well. They're different color vinyl. They were for jukeboxes only of Beatles singles on Capitol. So yeah, those are a nice set as well. So yeah, there was a guy where I lived when I grew up. There was a guy that he processed all the jukeboxes at the bars and stuff, and he put new records in and took old ones out. And when he took the old ones out, they'd take them to this dime store across the street from where I lived. And so I knew his schedule of when he showed up with those. And I'd be there. He came twice a week. I'd be there, and they were 49 cents. And
Oh
I'd
wow.
clean up. A lot of them never got played, honestly, So, but a lot of my 45s I got that way. So, yeah, it just brings you back, right? I mean, just immediately
Yeah.
brings me back to geez,
Uh-huh. So you
to my Utes. These Utes.
what's a you?
What's a Ute?
Absolutely.
Oh, it's great.
You know
Well,
that that
everybody, go ahead.
that movie's playing somewhere in the world continuously. My cousin Penny.
My cousin Vinny.
It's gotta be.
Yeah. September 1st here in Dallas at one of the theaters, they're showing The Shining in the theater.
Oh wow.
And I saw The Shining when it came out in the theater, and it scared the living crap out of me. Because when it got dark in that theater.
Yeah,
And then the
but
next scene would be, Danny on that little tricycle going through the hallways where those
yeah.
twin girls show up. And I mean, oh,
I don't think they had to have illuminated exit signs back then.
no,
It
they
was
didn't. I
dark.
probably not. It was dark.
It was dark.
The Seberg mechanism was the best for the care of yeah, it was. Yep. I know what you're talking about. Yep. On the jukebox. Yep. It handled them the best. Yeah, but they all had probably a little more pressure on the needle than you might like on those jukeboxes.
Yeah.
Make sure they didn't skip.
Just
Couldn't
put
play
a
a whole lot of
quarter on
love.
it.
Yeah, I should pull out my Whole Lot of Love single and see if it skips. I don't know if RL did the single or not. Something to
Lord.
investigate.
Yep.
Something to investigate. All right, folks. Well, thanks
Okay.
for joining me on the No Surface Noise Thursday night. Nick, especially thanks to you, my friend. Good to have you, as
Thank
always.
you for having me. Thank you all
Chance,
for being here.
yeah, Chance will be back next week on the Concert Buddy channel with another installation, rumination of surface noise. And until then, everybody have a great weekend and take care. Thanks again. See y'all.
Good night.
Good night.